All right. Administrative item number 4 is discussion of construction of permanent restroom facilities in Navarre Park. It's been a volunteer effort led by citizens. It's outstanding. Mr. Walker, do you have the...
Yes, in your packet is and Mr. Dabney's here. At the last meeting, I believe the board had asked Mr. Dabney to get with Mr. Gomillion, our building official, and start trying to see where we could work with the plans that he submitted, I believe at the last meeting to Mr. Cole, and to come back to the board. One of the things is the plans were incomplete according to the building official. We are going to need a certified an engineer or an architect to stamp the plans. We have to construct our buildings to the Florida Building Code, and ours are commercial buildings, and they require the design professional. We had discussed that it was a residential building. It was a wood building. We're concerned about the durability and the ability to maintain a public restroom, and also the location was to the west end of the property as opposed to closer to the butterfly house, splash pad, some of the main activity. So those were some of the things, but the bottom line is we need to kind of determine what the construction's going to be, and get a design professional to work with Mr. Dabney and Mr. Gomillion and work through that. Mr. Dabney may want to speak to the concerns. I know that he's talked with Ms. Royals before, and I know that Mr. Gomillion may have something to add.
James,
to that.
would you like to?
James Dabney, 9200 Military Trail. I think the only thing we were talking about in the last meeting that I can recall was, I brought it to y'all's attention so that we could get it to you and let you look at the outlay of the facility as far as toilets, urinals, sinks, making sure it was adequate for that part of it to, be the amount of restrooms and facilities that was needed at the park. Does me no good to submit a set of engineered stamp plans to you if you're going to come back to me and say, well, that's not going to work. It's not going to be enough bathrooms. It's not going to be enough hand sinks. It's not going to be enough this. My thing that I spoke was, let me know what you want, and I will go back to a licensed engineer, which an architect has to get it first. The architect sends it to an engineer. The engineer stamps off on it. We bring it to you and present it to you for approval. So, all I was trying to do is what you did in your same thing what you're doing with the courthouse.
Sure, exactly.
Somebody has to have an idea. The idea has to be presented.
Right. And the staff will work with you, Mr. Gomillion, where you guys can interface and just keep us in the loop. But this is very rare that a volunteer group comes forward with a proposal like this, and I don't want to see us let this one go. So to the extent it's possible, keep us in the loop, but work with Mr. Dabney, who's kindly consented to do whatever is required, and I've committed to make the District 4 rec funds available for the purchases required to implement those plans. But we need to get the plans done, so if you could interact to the maximum extent possible, we'd appreciate it, and keep us in the loop as to where we're going. So,
yes, sir. We'd be glad to do that. We would obviously. I think one of the things, as Mr. Walker alluded to, if the board has direction to us, I think the initial plans and understand what Mr. Dabney's trying to accomplish, and we want to help wherever we can. I guess the point Mr. Walker was making was that that design was showing a wood stud building, a typical residential type design, and our maintenance folks and others have discussed a preference for a masonry type construction for maintenance purposes, and some other question marks as far as location and things of that nature. So we'll do what the board directs us to do, and there may be some of those things that
Okay.
I guess we're looking for the board to kind of give some guidance on.
Okay, then
Mr.
I
Chairman.
propose that this board direct Mr. Gomillion to work with Mr. Dabney for the purpose of facilitating raised stamped engineering architectural plans for the bathrooms in the Navarre Park, based upon the agreement that Mr. Dabney and I have made, and I made publicly here, that the cost of the materials will be covered by the District 4 Recreation Fund, and that he will, along with volunteers, find people that will voluntarily do the work, which is an incredible promise, an outstanding act of just good citizenship. He's going to put together a team of architects and engineers and contractors to build this thing. So I move that you work with Mr. Dabney and keep the board in the loop to accomplish getting those plans ready so that we can move forward, and I do so without objection. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, just to give staff a little more direction, I think we had spoken about the advantages on Monday to the concrete block or CMU construction, much like the bathrooms right out here. You know, they're very easy to maintain, they're low maintenance. If we do get a high water event, the bathrooms wouldn't be a total loss. You hose them out and you're ready to go. So that's some of the direction that staff wants. Location, staff needs to determine the location, and I certainly appreciate and acknowledge the willingness of Mr. Dabney and the other volunteers to step up to the plate and assist the county in getting these bathrooms or restroom facilities built. That being said, I think we also need to be cognizant of the importance of the project, so that if over the course of the next 30 days or so it appears that because of the construction or what have you, it's going to be easier for the county to manage the project, that we not hesitate to step in and manage the project and utilize our volunteers where we can. But the key thing is we need to get these bathrooms open before
Absolutely.
next year.
Absolutely we do.
Or next summer anyway, whatever the time frame, the goal that we had set. So let's keep an eye on that as well. And if the county needs to take a more active role in getting this project completed, I'm all for it.
Then we'll deal with that when that need arises. But right now,
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cole.
Thank you. James and I have talked at length about this, about the construction of it, and although I do see the benefit of concrete construction, I also see the disadvantages of some of that. And I'm going to allow James to expound on that the way he felt like it would be better to be built. And I'd also want James to take credit too. He just recently found a person that's willing to put a $2,000 package together of LED lighting and donate that along with the other things that have already been donated. But James, if you'll talk to us about the construction.
There's no need to beat the construction around, because we're going to have to do whatever they tell us to do.
Exactly. Now,
So,
I understand
yeah.
that. My only thing to CMU concrete, just as this location is here, I walked out there to double check it before I came up. Exterior walls. That entire restroom is facilitated on exterior walls. So everything, toilets, urinals, the urinals are actually, the men's urinals will be on the interior wall. All of your toilets, women's and men's, will be on the exterior portion of that building. So if you should at any time ever have a leak in those water supply, you're going to have problems fixing it. It's not going to be a wood wall where you can go in, take down a section, put it back, and fix it back.
That's what these folks right down here
Mr. Chairman,
work out. Yes, sir.
you're going to be the project manager for this. Is that what we could say from just a general term? Because we need to make sure that there's
Tony
a clear.
Moyer is going to be pulling the GC, and I'll be overseeing the
But you'll be the project manager, so there needs to be a clear line of communication
Right.
between you and Mr. Gomillion and his staff. I have a restroom in my district that is not built a block, and I can tell you that's the first place that people go. I like to fish and play guitar. Some people like to punch holes in sheetrock. I mean, people have different hobbies. Some people like to vandalize. So we need to make sure that this is built to a standard that's going to last a long time. And whether it's a community project, a government project, or a private project, it still has to abide by all the codes, and it needs to be where we're asking permission and not asking forgiveness, because I've also worked in volunteer projects, and thank you for putting this together. But I've had them, and you get people who are a little overzealous as far as volunteers, and they want to go ahead and do stuff when it's not the proper time to be doing it because we haven't got the release from the project manager or the authority having jurisdiction. So just make sure that there's that clear line of communication between Public Works and you, because we don't want to hold up this project. We want it to be there in Navarre, but we want everybody to go through the proper channels and make sure that it's built in a manner that we can be proud of for a long time.
Right. No, and I understand that too, and you know, I've had my run-ins with the county, and where I've sometimes done things without permission, but you know, that's what it is, and that's behind me. I mean, I'm trying to do right, and I think this is a great thing for us to get done. You know, I think we need to let's look at both parts of it. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter how we build it. I mean, we can build it out of all pressure-treated wood, and it'd be the same principle of what you're saying. A hurricane's going to do what a hurricane's going to do. You're on the water. I have a $3 million piece of property sitting on the water today. When the hurricane comes, I have insurance for that. When it blows down, I will rebuild. When it blows down on your property, it's not going to make a difference where it goes, how it gets there. If it's down on the ground, you're going to rebuild it. Now, unfortunately, it's taken us 10 years to rebuild ours, but, you know, I think we need to look at every aspect of that. If it's easier to modify that bathroom, you want to go in at a later time and put additional fixtures or, you know, stuff in there, a concrete wall is not the way to go. It's twice as expensive to do anything later down the road. If you have to repair that wall, it's twice as expensive to repair it.
Okay.
You know, there's very limited options on running electrical. You know that yourself. It limits your options on doing numerous things if you ever make changes. So, I mean, that's my only objection to concrete. And like I said, I did not go, aesthetically, I did the outside to match the chamber.
Yeah, and we can make the outside look like whatever it needs to look like. You make a good point about, you know, additions, future construction, maintenance, and that's what you and Mr. Goldmillion's crowd can work through and bring it back to us. We're not going to tell you how to do it. We're policymakers, and conceptually we're approving this interaction between you. Now, we have a motion on the floor without objection. Everybody had a chance to speak to it that wants to. Hearing no objection, it passes. There's you guys keep us in the loop as you interface on that.
So what we need to do is we need to just figure out with Mr. Gamillion
Yes, sir.
what you guys are going to recommend as far as concrete, wood, whatever type of construction that's recommended through the counties.
All right. Item number 5 is recommend a letter of agreement with the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration